This week, I want to talk to you from this idea: don't let the familiar get you off track. And this idea came to me in a very simple way. So every morning, I like to go out for a morning walk or jog, and there's a park near my apartment. So I walk from my apartment to the park, and I like to walk and jog through the park, around the park, through the park. And usually, I'll kind of take the same general route through the park. Usually, I do. But on this particular day, I decided to shake things up a little bit, live a little wild and crazy, and take a slightly different route or go a slightly different direction through the park. And so I decided in my mind, all right, I'm going to go this different route. I'm going to go this different direction. And I started walking through the park and, I was listening to my music and kind of thinking and praying and doing all of these things. And I had started off on this different route, going this different direction. And I got kind of halfway around my first rotation of the park, and I realized, wait a minute, I'm back. I'm going back the way I usually go. And I realized that there had been a momentary familiar point where I should have continued on the different path, but autopilot kind of took over and my body just automatically went down the path that I would normally go, or went the direction that I would normally go. And that very simple example really got me to thinking about how there will be times in our lives where we will decide to make a change in our lives. We will decide to do something different. We will decide to operate in a different way. We are deciding to solidly making a decision to make a change in our lives and do things differently, operate in a different way, go a different direction. And a moment of familiarity can get us off of that new path and lead us back down the familiar path. And that's what I wanted to talk about this week, is not allowing that moment of familiarity to get you back onto the old path. It could be you have decided to take a new career path, and for whatever reason, an opportunity in the old career path comes up. An opportunity, what looks like an opportunity. Maybe it seems that it's going to offer you exactly what you wanted, the reason why you left that old career path. This new opportunity in that old career path is going to offer you what you wanted, whether it be more control over your time, whether it be better perks, whether it be more money, whatever it is. And you decide to go with that old opportunity because it's familiar and your autopilot kind of takes over. Or it could be you deciding to change your way of doing certain things. And in that change, you realize and you decide that there are certain people or maybe certain places you can't go to, certain people you can't hang around. But a moment of familiarity can get you back in those old crowds or get you back in those old places. And that old way of being, that old way of doing things starts to take over again. And it's not that you haven't decided to make the change. You have decided in your heart, you have purposed in your heart, you have decided in your mind that you are going to make a change, that you're going to do something different, that you're going to change the way you do things. But that momentary second of familiarity will get you off of the new path and cause you to go back down the old path or start doing things in the old way, the way that you were trying to get away from, or the thing or the people you were trying to get away from. And so I just want to remind us that we really have to be vigilant when we decide to make a change for our lives, when we decide to do something new, to do something different, when we decide that the way of being that we have operated in, the way that has been familiar to us for so long, is not the way we want to operate anymore. When we decide that we want to go a different direction, we want to do something new, we have to be mindful that those old things, those old familiar things, we have to be mindful not to let those old familiar things get us off of the new path and get us back onto the old path. And that could be, you have to decide that, but then you also have to put things in place so that when those triggers happen that might get you to go back onto that old path, those triggers will not overpower you and get you on autopilot. You may have to find yourself an accountability partner and actually be accountable to that person, and allow them to see into your life and allow them to ask questions and allow them to check you. Sometimes we get accountability partners and we're like, yeah, I'm going to be accountable. Right. And then they check us and we like, you can't check me, boo. Who will check me, boo? Right. But you have to let your accountability partner check you when you need to be checked and correct you when you need to be corrected. And that's so, so important. And so that's what I just want to remind us of. I reminded myself of that, and also remind anyone out there who's listening of that same thing. When you have decided, I'm going to make a change, I'm going to do something different, I'm going to go down a new path, I'm going to make a new decision, I'm going to get away from these old people, I'm going to do something new that my family has never done before, I'm going to do something new that my friend group has never done before. Be mindful not to let that familiar thing, those old familiar things, to get you off of the new path and back onto the old path. And it's going to be hard. It's not easy. It probably won't happen overnight. There will probably be moments where you're like, it would be so easy for me to just go back to the old path. But it's not the goal. You have to remember your goal. You have to remember your why. You have to remember the reason why you decided to make a change. And you have to let that propel you towards the new path and keep you on the new path. And remember why you left that old thing behind. So that's what I want to share with y'all this week. Do not allow moments of familiarity to get you off of the new path that you've decided you wanted to be on. Don't allow those moments to drag you back to the old path. It's time to do something new.